Joshua, we're now 2 weeks into your residency.
Yes.
And I just wanted to ask you, what have your impressions been from the rehearsals and from the part of the workshopping part?
I was strongly impressed by the quality of the actors and how seriously they treat the work and how fast they get into or how fast they carry out the instructions that you give them. This is very surprising for someone who comes from Israel, where the actors will first of all start to argue with you before they carry out your instructions. And I liked very much your work with the actors. I thought that you brought them very quickly to concentrate on the essence of scenes and of the play that we are workshopping here. So these were my main impressions, I would say, and then of course the chance to meet different audiences here, among others the Hebrew speaking students at Brandeis, and then older people, younger people, so on. So I think I got a lot of impressions that I'll have to digest and to elaborate, to work out when I get home, and things will settle.
Obviously, you work with a lot of students in Israel. You teach. So what's been your experience? At the universities where we've had engagements this past week.
Well, again, I had the impression that the students, where we met students, were very serious guys. They were interested in the subject. They came up with quite interesting questions about the subjects which we presented to them. So, well, they are much younger than our students, because, in Israel, people come to the university after having finished their military service, having visited at least South America and the Far East. And so there is a difference probably in mentality. Here you feel that they are very young. They remind me of Israeli kids who come out from high school. I don't know what year were the students whom we met, but this was my impression. They felt younger.
Do you feel that they felt younger, they felt more innocent and open, or what,
Well, yes, I think that when you meet Israeli students, first of all, they tend to test you. You feel that you're being put to a test there, and if they approve you, then it's okay. If they don't, you will have a hell of a difficult time with them. Yeah. So I think Israelis are very critical, and they tend to, first of all, to cast a doubt, and you have to prove that you are worthy of their attention.
And here,
I felt that the guys were more open and more, in a sense, more innocent, I think. This was my impression, at least, but it's a very superficial impression, it's just, I came for a moment, and what can I say?
What has been your sense of, obviously we're a tiny company, Israeli Stage. What's been a sense of the company and the people involved in it?
It took me a while to realize that you have created.
Just sorry, if you can repeat the question and the answer.
Yes, the Israeli stage. What were my impressions of the Israeli stage here? I was surprised to see how many people were in the. I don't know if they are fans of the Israeli stage or on the board of the Israeli stage, but I had the impression that after having met a few times the people, and I started to recognize some faces and some names there, I have the impression that you got a very strongly supportive group of people who are interested in the Israeli stage. And it seems like there is a need for that stage here in Boston. I think because Israeli theater has nowadays what to offer. We are a small and young country, but very turbulent and creative in many fields, like in the high tech. So it is in the theater also. I think that the amount of creativity that goes on with young Israeli writers and directors, and we have what to offer. This was my impression, and I think that it justifies the development of the Israeli stage in Boston. I hope you will get a venue of your own here and be able then to open it up to full-scale productions, which can be interesting for an American audience, not only for a Jewish American audience, but a general, I would say, American audience.
What's your sense of what is, personally for you, what is the perspective? You know, obviously in translation your work is different. What is the perspective that you hope to bring to the American audiences that you've met and American audiences in general?
Well, the perspective that I would like to offer to an American audience is the experience of a society that has to cope with a big variety of ethnic groups, a society that has been living, or a community that has been living in an ongoing conflict for over 100 years, and has to preserve its human values or its humanity in spite of that ongoing conflict that has its bloody eruptions from time to time. And another aspect, I think that the Israeli literary world and the Israeli intellectual world keeps questioning the meaning of its existence. And we are never very sure that our place in the world as a separate community is, we can't take it for granted. I mean, because we are put in question by our neighbors and then by ourselves also. So I think this is a message we can offer or bring to a place like the United States, where the vastness of that country, the big, the huge amount of riches and the number of people and so on, you know, these big dimensions, they give people a feeling that everything is solid and their existence is assured and solid, and they don't have to put it in question. And I think this is a wrong attitude for human beings in general, because I think it doesn't matter how big is your country and how big is your what's the number of your fellow citizens. Especially so in modern times, in our times, every community and every state and every group of people have to ask themselves the question, what is still the meaning of their existence as a group, as a community, as a people, as a nation? Because things are not clear anymore. It's not as it was in the Middle Ages when you knew your place in the church, and thanks to the church or so on, and no longer. And I think that we are living in a time of great upheavals and changes, and it's very good to learn to ask questions about the meaning and the essence of one's existence in this world.
It's, you like the statue in David King, you are a provocateur, and in many ways through your work and through the messages that you bring to people through your talks. And I wonder what kind of a dialogue. These questions are uncomfortable questions to ask people. Whether why you think theater is the right place to ask these questions, and what kind of dialogue you think people can hold right after seeing the play.
Why is theater still meaningful? Why is it important for me, at least? I think because theater is almost the last place in the world of culture where living people meet living people. We are because of the predominance now of electronic means and the media and the internet and the iPhones and so on, people tend to isolate themselves from other people. I know that when the iPhone was first presented, people were surprised, and they said, well, this will bring people together. This will make communications between people easier. And I think it was Steve Jobs who said, no, you're wrong. It will succeed because it will answer the need of people to isolate themselves and to cut themselves off from one another. I don't know if he meant it cynically or he really believed that this was going to happen, but this is what happens nowadays. You see people isolated with the thing they hold in their palm, and I tend to say that the friends are in your palm, your country is in your palm, the world is in your palm, and finally your palm isolates you from the rest of the world. And you see it. You see sometimes people walking on the street, not being aware of anything, but going on, living in a kind of bubble which it creates for them. Mainly when they have their earphones on, and you see them walking in the street with a kind of vacant look and talking to the air, to some satellite over there. So I think theater is the only place where you offer people to come and to meet living artists who are confronting them with whatever they confront them. They can confront them with hot questions. They can confront them with uneasy and unsettling problems. And they can also just indulge in pure entertainment, So I think that the role of theater in our times, you said that you asked me if I was a provocateur. And I once said that provocation has a meaning only in a society that has lost its vocation. And when a society has lost its vocation and it doesn't know anymore why it exists as a society, just to eat more or to need more and to consume more and to earn more and more and more and to work more and so on, and the question of more and more and more becomes the value, then it's a society that has lost its vocation. And then I think the role of theater is to provoke, to remind society that it has to find its new vocation. I'm not pretending that I can offer them a vocation, but at least I can make them feel that they have lost the vocation as a society. And this is what I did with some of my plays, I think, and sometimes it created all hell. And sometimes it was accepted more easily. Yeah, but I do believe that theater can and should provoke society to get out of its slumber and become interested in questions to which they developed an indifference. And the most dangerous thing in our world is when you become indifferent to the suffering of others, to the destiny of others, and to your own destiny at the end of the day. And then things move you around and you don't know anymore, and you become a kind of foam on the water. And I don't think this is what human existence is all about, to be some dust or foam carried by the water wherever the waves take you.
Wine rejoiceth the heart of man. Right?
Yeah, among other things, yes, of course. But even I think that even the capability to rejoice together, people have lost it to a certain extent. They are isolated. You see them following, let's say, soccer games or things like this, sitting, confronting the television set, not having the experience of getting excited together with other people. Sometimes when I sit in my flat in Tel Aviv, I hear people shouting and screaming from rooms from the flats, and I say, what's the matter, what's going on? Ah, yeah, there is a game, a football game. But they are isolated with a television set, and you know, they don't go out so much anymore. So this I think is a very important thing that the theater should create, offering
We're
them.
very lucky that you are able to bring people together, and and I think there's just one last thing we can put in. This you can edit out.
Okay.
But just to say that you look forward to seeing the audience and the artists again next year when you come back, or that you hope to come back next year.
You mean here to Boston or where?
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I would. Now you have aroused my interest and my curiosity, and I would be happy to see one of my plays being performed here in a full-scale production, and to see the audience reacting to it. I had a chance now to see the reaction of the audience to attend the production of Sinners, and I was positively surprised. I was not at all sure that people were ready to confront such a tough drama and to accept it and to deal with it even. So yes, I would very much like to come here, provided you can offer a weather like today, you know, a clear sky and some sun, yes.